go. We'll get another acceleration here. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over an Audi R8 V10 Plus. First and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to the owner of the car for providing us with his R8. Check out his Instagram in the description below. He's got this R8 and a cool Jeep Wrangler, but let's just get right into the video. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 5.2 liter V10 that goes through a 7-speed dual clutch automatic transmission. Power outputs are 610 horsepower and then 413 pound-feet of torque. Now let's actually talk about some stuff under the hood. So first off, to actually pop this open, you have to have the car on and then pull that little tab you guys saw me pull, but the car has to be on for you to be able to open this up, which is pretty interesting. But the other cool thing, obviously it says V10 through here. Just love the overall look of it, and you can see you've got the crossbars for structural rigidity, which is just another really cool look. And then you can see all of the carbon fiber here in the engine bay as well. Just really cool in general. And so overall, I think just 10 out of 10 in my opinion. Now let's go over the front end of the R8, and sorry about the noise. I had to turn the car on for the lights to turn on. But first and foremost, the hood is very, very short here on the front end. Don't worry, we'll go under it. It's the hood, aka the frunk. But I've always loved the headlights here with the R8 in this newer generation. You've got the cool little LED accent light that kind of comes down right there, and then the projector bulb, super bright, but again, just super distinctive look here from the front end. And all the venting as well, it just looks so sleek. Like all the body lines on this car are just really long, and everything's kind of like rounded off, so it has this like really sleek look, and the car's super low to the ground, so it works. Now let's pop into the front of the R8. So I actually really like this little kit that it comes with. This bag is actually full of stuff to help you fix the R8 if you do get stuck on the side of the road, which is pretty neat, and it says R8 on it. But yeah, like I said, the storage space is actually pretty decent here. There's this little like random net up here with a little pocket. I don't know what you put up there, but you could put something. And the other thing I forgot to mention on the front end is it does have a carbon fiber front splitter. Very, very low key and small, but still another cool little touch. And that is everything for the frunk. Now over here in the front, we've got two 45mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels, and then in the rear it's 305mm, which again is 20-inch wheels. And I love that there is absolutely like no gap here. It is all tire, which is awesome. But again, this car is really low to the ground, so it kind of makes sense. I like how the side marker there has been blacked out. It's another nice little touch. And then yes, you've got the little blacked out mirror, which the mirror looks super distinctive here on the side. But the cool part obviously is the venting to let some air get into the engine. And yes, it's finished in carbon fiber because the R8 is known for the little carbon fiber side blades. But overall, really good look. And here is your full side view. We've already gone under the hood, so we'll just go over the rest of the rear end. So again, we have a massive carbon fiber spoiler here in the back, which is super like discreet because it's not that high up off of the car, but definitely another cool distinctive look for the R8. And then you've got the R8 and Audi badging right here, nothing too crazy. The cool part is the exhaust system. So this does have an aftermarket exhaust to give you guys some revs in a little bit, but suffice to say it's really loud. And I've always loved like the square tips here at the bottom, which I think is just really cool. Carbon fiber diffuser here in the back as well. You actually get parking sensors back here, so it's got some practicality to it. But yeah, overall, again, they kind of continue that sleek look, but it's super, super wide. Like, it doesn't look that wide on camera, but in person, it's a really wide car. Take a look at the door panel here on the R8. So you can see that we've got full leather over the entire door panel here. I love the red contrasted stitching. It goes very nice with the white exterior color on this particular one. And then, yes, it's a normal car, so you got your normal controls for the windows, mirror adjustments, all that kind of stuff. Got your little button for the front. If you guys are wondering for the release for the back, it's actually hidden back here, so you can see there's kind of like this little space back there. It's that button, but again, the car does have to be on for you to be able to open up the rear. And then here, the seats, absolutely love them. So again, really nice leather on it. They've got the cool quilted design all throughout. The seats just look really, really premium. It has a nice smell to it as well. And then here's what the pedals look like. Super premium looking in general. They continue the carbon fiber here onto the little door seal. It says R8 as well. And then you guys can just look over in this whole area. You've got your light controls right there. Pretty normal for most cars. Got the paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel. I love the perforated leather. We'll go over that in a second though. But yeah, there's one more look. And just look at this. Like, it's super, super low to the ground to even get in. Now here is the steering wheel in the R8. So you've got the really nice perforated leather all around, which is really grippy. Obviously that's going to help out with driving fast in this car, right? You won't lose a grip or anything. Got the paddle shifters there on the back to be able to shift the gears yourself. I love the stitching here on the airbag cover. You got normal stuff like Bluetooth, voice commands, all this stuff for the center stack. And then yes, you do have your drive mode select and all this. And then for your exhaust and the engine stop start, which is kind of like Ferrari style. We'll go over this stuff in just a little bit. I love the R8 there at the bottom, and then it's kind of like flat bottom design. And then you got your stock there for the turn signal. On the other side, you got the windshield wipers, and that is, well, part of the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster. First off, this is actually where the whole infotainment system is and everything. So like the backup camera, for example, is here in the center. Yes, the trajectory lines do turn with the steering wheel. Definitely weird to turn the steering wheel with my camera in between it. But you can see you've got parking sensors there in the front and the rear. And again, this is where you're going to control everything, is in this little center screen right here. So like if you guys want to look at like the navigation, for example, if you want to look at vehicle information, like everything is in this little screen here, which is definitely a little bit different, but I like it because like this car is such like a driver's car, so it's cool that like everything is right here for the driver. I love how it's like all around the car too. It's like this little menu thing, which is definitely different. But like, yeah, you can go into vehicle, for example, you can see different stuff on the vehicle itself. So overall, just definitely neat. Now you guys remember all these buttons on the steering wheel? Well, that is going to pertain to the center as well. So you got like the drive mode select. So you can see that you've got the different drive modes. You got the individual, you got the comfort, auto, and then dynamic. Dynamic is the mode we're always going to want to be in because, well, hopefully you guys understand on that. And you can see that the car gets a little bit louder when you go into the dynamic mode as well. And it's pretty cool that you've got the stability control as well. You can turn on or off with that little race flag button that you guys saw. And then obviously over with the exhaust, you can see you've got the standard and the sport. Again, we're always going to want to be in the sport mode because we want the loudest mode possible. Now outside of all of that, you guys can see that there is actually no infotainment system. Really nice dash. So you got really nice stitching all throughout. You've got carbon fiber over the vents. And then you can see that you've got the climate controls right here, which I love how it's these little like dials here in the middle. Definitely like different, like it's just a different system. Definitely not used to it whatsoever, but I actually really like it. Just really easy to use, really intuitive. And then you can see down here, you've got like the USBs, all that kind of stuff. Nothing too crazy happening down there. You do get heated seats here in the R8 as well, which is another nice little touch. And then this is for your parking sensors to turn those on or off, your stability control as well. And then you have the shifter right here. You've got the leather here at the top. And you got the carbon fiber trim all around on the shifter. And then you can see this is like the volume control as well. And then yes, there is a manual shift mode, so you just got to pull it into drive and then push it over. And then you use the paddles to shift the gears yourself. And then other than that, you guys can see that you've got this little dial right here, which is going to control stuff in the center stack, which is definitely different. Like you can use the stuff on the steering wheel, or you can use this dial. I'm not sure why you'd use this dial, but maybe it's a little bit easier. And then you got the parking brake right here. But yeah, just enjoy all that carbon fiber. If you're wondering, this is not a center console. It's just a couple of cup holders. You don't really get a center console. Sorry, there's a little hat right there, but you got a little CD player right there. You get storage behind the seats, which is pretty nice. It's like a little storage shelf there in the back. And then coming over here, there is actually a glove box. Obviously the owner has stuff in there, which is like paperwork and all that, which I'm not going to show, but it does have a glove box. So like it's a supercar, but it still has that glove box practicality. And again, just appreciate like the attention to detail. And then even at like the top of the car here, sorry, it's really dim in here, but you can see that it's full Alcantara, and they've even done the quilted design here at the top of the car. So like even the top looks really nice. So like everything on this car just looks really, really good, which I definitely appreciate. Now we're done going over the interior, let's quickly get into pricing. So right now on the used market, most of these V10 R8s on like the really, really cheap end will be about $130,000, and the more expensive ones will be like $150,000 to $160,000, just to give you guys kind of like a price range. I know it's like a big range, but yeah, it depends on mileage, condition, all that kind of stuff. But that all being said, let's take this R8 out and see how it drives. So we're initially setting off here in the R8, and the first thing that I noticed is this car is extremely loud and the brakes are super touchy. Like you barely get into them, and they just like, there's no way to get used to these other than like driving this car for a long period of time. I can tell, like, I feel like I'm a new driver again. just 100% with just how touchy these brakes actually are. But the one thing I noticed is the visibility for this being like a supercar and everything is actually really solid. So if you guys are wondering, we are in the manual mode, in the dynamic mode. And again, like I said, you're gonna wanna drive it in dynamic the whole time because, well, it's an R8 and that's what you're supposed to do with the car. But the gear shifts are extremely quick. Like the second you press the paddle, it just instantly shifts with the gear. And again, I've got to mention it, like it's loud. Like you just hear the engine all the time, which I'm not complaining about that. Definitely a really good sound, but it's definitely a different experience for sure. And coming up here, since we got a little bit of space, we'll get a minor acceleration. So we're in about third gear. So you guys can see when we kind of like lightly get onto it, it just like the shift's super quick, but sounds really good as well. And it just actually, even though it doesn't have a massive torque figure, it pulls relatively hard when you're just like barely getting on it at all really. But obviously you guys are here for one reason, so we're gonna go into second. Yeah, it's definitely like, it feels like it just has so much power and it just keeps going and going and going. Like it's just crazy. Okay, well, we'll get another acceleration here. That is crazy. This is a lot faster than I expected it to be. I know 600 horsepower, but like it pulls really hard and you get no drama with the grip whatsoever. And so it's just like 600 horsepower just like in your face, absolutely insane. And this will be our last acceleration before we sum things up. That is so crazy. And it just keeps going. It doesn't necessarily like throw you in your seat like crazy, but it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling. And it's like you can get up to really crazy fast speeds without even realizing it. And I guess like finally summing things up with this car is I could actually foresee someone daily driving one of these, no problem. It has a decent amount of storage space. It's not the most practical with the fact that it doesn't have like a real center console, but the storage space is actually pretty good. Acceleration crazy. It has all-wheel drive, so if you threw some winter tires on this, you could have some fun in the snow. But yeah, everything that everyone said about this car is true. It definitely is like a Lamborghini. I've driven a Gallardo, not a Huracan, but I've driven a Gallardo, and it's definitely like a Lamborghini, but it has Audi badging, so you get the best of both. You get a little bit better with the technology reliability, but then you also get the engine and all that kind of stuff. That is going to sum things up for our video on this Audi R8 V10 Plus. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the owner for giving me some time with his car. Check out his Instagram in the description below. I will see all of you in the next video.